Hey, yo, who that nation? What it do? It is officially football season. That's right. Football content is officially back all across the nation. We have endured a painful off season, but I am so happy to say that we now have football back in our lives. It is Who Dat Davis here for you. And as always, if you don't know, you will know that over here, we bleed black and gold until we dead and cold. And thank y'all for checking out the live stream. I'm so very, very excited to talk about the review for the Saints day one training camp. A handful of things to break down here, but for first, always I have to give a shout out to everybody who checks out my content on a regular basis, whether you're Be Kind, Greg White, the OG Jerry Poor, Picking and Flick. I see all you guys filling up the chat. I see some new faces in here too, like Jay Lash. What's going on, Mr. Jay Lash? Who that to you, brother? If you guys haven't checked out the recent collab I did with Smokeless YT, go check out Smokeless YT's channel. We had our predictions on the 53-man roster. They were pretty similar for the most part. Just a couple of key differences here and there in terms of offensive linemen and defensive backs. But Smokeless YT knows his stuff. His first stream on his channel was a major success. His followers showing him some love with the donos. Congratulations, Smoke YT. Congratulations on the donos. You very, very much deserved it. And I hope I can follow suit in that goal. Now, oh man, I'm so very excited for this. Oh, I can hardly contain myself. Let me go ahead and get into what I need to get into here. Okay, so the thing y'all need to start off with is Jameis Winston. I know you guys want to hear about the quarterback battle. Let's get ahead and get into the state of the quarterback battle between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. If you guys haven't checked out my community post, go check that out. But if you're already here, I will say right now, Jameis Winston, from the main consensus of the local Saints media of Nick Underhill to Jeff Duncan, Catherine Terrell, and the like, it looks like Jameis Winston has gotten an early start over Taysom Hill. He looked really, really sharp. He completed 7 out of 8 pass attempts during the 11-on-11, whereas Taysom Hill completed only 5 out of 7. So honestly, that 5 out of 7 could have been 6 out of 7 if Deontay Harris didn't drop the ball. But there's context to this. There is context to this, guys. According to Luke Johnson, it looks like Taysom Hill's throws, all except one, were fewer than 7 to 8 yards, meaning they were predominantly behind the yards a game, behind the 10-yard mark. So, and whereas Jameis Winston was really uncorking the deep ball, he's hit a handful of receivers in stride with Deontay Harris, Jalen McCleskey, the former Oklahoma State transfer Tulane receiver, even Juwan Johnson with a deep post route. They've been hitting stride. They looked really good. You got Easop Winston getting into the fold. Jameis Winston has done a handful of good so far today to really get him into the lead with this whole QB battle. Nice going. I hope he can continue this momentum throughout all of training camp, but I'm more interested in the receivers. Not only have these receivers started to show up like early on between Jalen McCleskey and Juwan Johnson getting some looks. Lord Jordan Humphreys has gotten some looks. He's been noted to be really slim compared to the last time we saw him. So Lil Jordan Humphreys getting that receiver body. You know, everybody wanted him to see tight ends. He had that tight end build, but apparently he slimmed down. So that may help him with his speed a little bit and being able to high point of football. He's already got that elusiveness to his game. There's a lot of good that's coming out of this overall, right? Whereas Taysom Hill, let's give Taysom Hill his fair shake. Taysom Hill looked, from reports, he looked really good on the account that minus a handful of plays where there were 7 or 8 fewer yards behind a yard to gain. He had a really timely and effective screen game to Alvin Kamara that broke away for an explosive apparently explosive yardage. So, and that's actually really good for Taysom Hill. If you're going to lead this team, if you're going to be the QB1, you have to continue to improve on being able to hit the screen game with Alvin Kamara, or a tight end screen with Adam Troutman, or maybe even Juwan Johnson, whoever is being set up for the screen, you have to be able to hit that timing right with your receiver in question. And honestly, this is a good start for Taysom Hill. He scrambled out of the pocket to avoid a would-be sack from Cameron Jordan, and he got some good yardage out of that. So he didn't have a bad day by any means, but it's just Jameis Winston had an even better day. The one receiver I'm looking at right now that's supposed to be a wide receiver number 1 starting the NFL season is Tre'Quan Smith. If you guys haven't checked out the interview for Tre'Quan Smith, I will post it on my channel later today. You guys can take it for what you will. But for what I will say for right now is Tre'Quan Smith sounds a lot more confident than he had 3 years prior. You know, always dealing with nagging injuries, going into an offseason. It's an offseason where he's walked away fully healthy, and he's worked on his chemistry with Jameis Winston and actually showed a little bit during the first day of training camp. Let's hope that continues. But his interview itself, he's more confident in himself. He said, and I quote, "I know my alignments, I know my assignments. There's no second guessing where I'm supposed to be where, doing what." Tre'Quan Smith, understanding all the alignments, all the assignments, he's pretty much being compared to as a third coach. Like that speaks to the leadership that's developing within Tre'Quan Smith, and you're going to need that with Michael Thomas out. So if you can continue that, then that's really good for this really young receiving core, who honestly is getting a lot of hate from the national media because there's no household name in here outside of Michael Thomas. Now, the offensive line, Cesar Ruiz. If you guys don't know Cesar Ruiz, he was a first-round pick in the 2019 draft, a former center turned right guard. He's looked really great today, according from Luke Johnson and our star center, Eric McCoy. He said he looked great. Sean Payton said he's looked great. Everybody is looking forward to seeing what Cesar Ruiz can do when he puts it all together at the right guard position, and I am too. He had a really shaky start last year, admittedly, because of no OTAs, no preseason. He got injured during training camp. So, excuse me, I got something locked in my throat. But yeah, Cesar Ruiz doing his due diligence and working out in the right guard position this offseason, getting his mind right and what he needs to do as a right guard. He looked really great so far. Let's hope he can continue that and maintain his health. Walk away with another ankle injury like he did last year. Some other keynotes here. It looks like Patrick Robinson on the defensive side ended up playing outside of CB2. So it remains to be seen if that ends up remaining the case at the start of the season. But for right now, Patrick Robinson is getting reps at the CB2 spot outside on the opposite side of Marshawn Lattimore, and that's honestly really good. I'm very much looking forward to that. If you've got Brian Poole in coverage in the slot, that means you can move Patrick Robinson on the outside, or my idea still, you can still try out CJ Gardner-Johnson on the outside during the preseason games and see how well he fits there. But I'm not mad at this. Brian Poole slot, Patrick Robinson outside with Paulson and Debo potentially backing him up. It remains to be seen. That's an interesting area right there. With Patrick Robinson on the boundary. He's not bad on the boundary by any means. He's been responsible for almost a handful of plays that saved the Saints in several games last year with interceptions in the red zone or interceptions on key third down. So P-Rob playing outside, I have no issue with that. And I don't know too much right now on Paulson and Debo, other than he's still memorizing the playbook. He's still getting assignments right. But they said that he looked pretty good, so we're gonna just go off of that. The linebackers. Here's where the linebackers, my favorite position in the NFL, comes into play. It looks like, according to this, Pete Warner and Zach Bond have ended up getting rotations along with Caden Ellis. So it looks like I don't know what to make of this. It's very, very interesting. You got P. Warner and Zach Bond. I get that. But Caden Ellis is getting rotational snaps with the ones. Caden Ellis. That's interesting. If Caden Ellis can really develop as a rotational guy for the starting lineup, then it puts the Saints in pretty favorable position defensively and on who can plug in there. Pete Warner is said to have gotten some snaps at the Mike position, a handful of snaps, rotated with Demario Davis. Demario Davis loves him so far. He's always asking questions. He's always eager to learn. He's always in tune with things around him. So pretty good praise so far with Pete Warner. And Zach Bond getting some rotations. We already knew that, overall we've got a linebacker battle between these two. Go check out my recent video if you haven't. But that's really interesting. Caden Ellis being slipped into the fold. Overall, hey, look, I'm all for it. What about the tight ends? You guys don't want to know about the tight ends, right? It looks like outside of Adam Troutman, we all know Adam Troutman is going to be getting that praise, getting that start at the tight end one position. You got Nick Van Ness and Juwan Johnson being rotated in with the two tight end sets. Now with Adam Troutman, Sean Payton praised Adam Troutman on believing he's ready to receive more reps and take on more of a role in this offense. He even admitted to the fact that he was stuck behind some talent already on the offense between Jared Cook and Josh Hill. So it was an uphill battle. It wasn't going to be something that he could really contend against for the moment with Drew Brees in his last season. But with them gone, he's really looking forward to plugging in Alan Troutman and unleashing the potential we all know he has. And Nick Van Ness getting that tight end two look today. It's really interesting. I'm not surprised. A former Denver, former Seattle guy who has really good run blocking skills, going to plug in there where Josh Hill retired from. And finally, Juwan Johnson. Juwan Johnson was hit in stride by Jameis Winston on a post route, on a deep post route going from right to left, to the left side of the field. Hit in stride. That's really, I'm not going to try to overhype this too much, but it's promising. We're seeing flashes at this point. We're seeing flashes of them working out, of their workouts this offseason coming to light so far in training camp. Now, can they sustain that? It remains to be seen. Now we've got the running backs. The running backs of Alvin Kamara, Ty Montgomery, Latavius Murray, and Dwayne Washington, Stevie Scott, Tony Jones, people like that. According to this, it looks like Alvin Kamara and fullback Alex Armour were getting rotations at the starting running back position. Alex Armour, that's not a name I expected to hear back there. I didn't hear Latavius Murray. I heard Alex Armour being rotated in with Alvin Kamara. That's interesting. So it really says to me so far that they want to get Alex Armour involved in more than just being a run blocker. They want to try potentially getting him some looks with toting the rock or getting some passes. So Alex Armour, so far so good. Keep up that good work, brother. I'm really looking forward to it. Let me close up my final thoughts, and then we're going to get into the comments here. So overall, it looks like some players that are really underrated are getting some good looks early on, from Juwan Johnson moving to tight end. So far, so good on that front. To Alex Armour, an underrated signing from Carolina. On the defensive side, you've got Brian Poole, who looked pretty good. You've got Caden Ellis being rotated in with the ones. On the defensive line, you've got Marcus Davenport apparently looking pretty good. Cameron Jordan is still looking like he's in top shape. He would have had a whoop-beat sack on Taysom Hill before he scrambled. Taysom Hill looked pretty decent overall. Not too much info on Ian Book or Trevor Siemian. I'm still believing Trevor Siemian is going to be cut before the start of the season. But for right now, it's 4 quarterbacks. It's really good overall to see these guys looking like they're in top shape. According to Sean Payton, if you guys want to know about the vaccine rate for the New Orleans Saints, it's over 90%, and Sean Payton is pushing to have 100% vaccination rate. 8 players in total, not 1, not 2, not 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7, but 8 players right now, only 8, are still unvaccinated. He's still pushing for them to get the vaccine so they can hit 100%. But 90% is really good. I don't know of many teams right now that have over 90% vaccination rate between amongst their players. They're 100% on tier 1 and tier 2 staff. 90% over players. That's really good. That means they're keeping on top of things. They seen what happens with the week 17 against the Carolina Panthers, and I believe Sean Payton ended up contracting COVID last year for a while. So, that's to be expected. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments here. Let's get into it. I really appreciate y'all. Apparently TJ ended up tweeting me. I appreciate you, TJ, if you're still in here watching. Big blessing to have you here, brother, on your free time. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments here. Started with Donald Woods. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Donald? Taysom was good. Jameis had the better day, though. Absolutely. I take nothing away from Taysom Hill. He had a really good day. It's just Jameis Winston looked so much better. Not only just with Traquan Smith and Deontay Harris. It's the other guys that I've noted, from a Juwan Johnson to a Jalen McCleskey. He's hit 7 out of 8 pass attempts on 11 on 11. That really stretched the field. Whereas Taysom Hill was more of a Drew Brees-esque, hitting guys 7 or 8 yards fewer, like only one travel more than that. So advantage Jameis Winston so far. Let's see what day 2 has in store for the New Orleans Saints. Let's go ahead and read some more of these comments. Yep, powering off. Katie Davis says, I feel McCleskey is going to ball out. Smith take the number 1 role at Callaway, McCleskey, Hogan, or Lil Jordan. For right now, I still have my list as Traquan, Callaway, Harris, Lord Jordan, and Kawan Baker. I haven't seen much of Kawan Baker so far. Nothing really to report on him yet, but it's still early in training camp. He's plenty of time for him to really get some looks. But for right now, that's a fair take. Jalen McCleskey starting off strong. Got Lil Jordan Humphrey and even Chris Hogan. Chris Hogan looked pretty strong. He showed some really good bursts when on a spray release, on a diamond release. Chris Hogan wearing number 80 from Austin Carr. That says to me, Austin Carr is probably not even going to be on his roster. So if you're an Austin Carr disliker, I'm not going to say hater, but disliker, that should be comforting. Chris Hogan has taken the number 80 the number 80 jersey, excuse me. But Jalen McCleskey, I hope he continues to ball out. I'm still believing that Lil Jordan Humphrey right now is his spot to lose because his number was called. He balled out during the regular season, and he had some good looks during the postseason in the wild card game against the Chicago Bears. So McCleskey, Callaway, and Chris Hogan, I'm looking forward to those guys continuing to show up during training camp. Let's go ahead and read some more of these comments, get into another one. Greg White, what's going on, Mr. Greg? He says, I'm Jameis all the way, but I bet there'll be 10 or so teams where Taysom will be a quarterback upgrade. I bet there are 10 or so teams where Taysom. I believe I'm assuming you're talking about 10 or so games where Taysom Hill will be more favorable. I mean, that's a fair take. Let's not get this confused, right? Let's say Taysom Hill doesn't end up being the week 1 starter. He's still going to get his touches on the offense. He still has a section of the playbook designed for him to take some snaps on a quarterback power or even throw some passes. He's going to get his touches on offense. So either way, he's going to have some good looks. Regardless of what happens in training camp, Sean Payton's going to feature him in some way, shape, or form. So let's not get that confused. And that's actually really good. So I really want Jameis Winston to be QB1 so Taysom Hill can continue doing stuff like this. You said there are 10 or so teams where Taysom will be a quarterback upgrade. In that case, I'd rather him continue doing what he's been doing and really sticking to these defenses, keep them honest on their toes. Let's go ahead and read. Let's go ahead and read Donald again. We've got out Jerry Poor. Chris Hogan did good today, taking full responsibility for a wide receiver room. He wants to be the man. Traquan Smith talked about being a leader. Once again, I'll post the interview on my channel later today. So look out for that if you guys haven't checked it out on the official Saints YouTube channel. But Traquan Smith talked about being a leader on this team, which is actually really good. He's really shown that he's matured a little bit. He's not only on the physical side in terms of learning the playbook in alignments and assignments, but it's the mental side as well in terms of now that there's no Drew Brees you can lean on, someone else is going to have to rise up to the challenge and lead this team. And Traquan Smith so far is looking like he's doing that. Smith taking number 1 role. I watched the live. Yeah, he definitely has. He definitely has. I'm very much looking forward to it. He wants it. Let's go ahead and read some more of these comments. Cesar Ruiz also looked good. Toronto said likes him right now also. And that's really good because when your team captain for your offensive line is giving you some praises. Cesar Ruiz had, like I said, he had a really rough start to these to his rookie campaign last year with no preseason or no OTAs, and he had injury during training camp. Forced to play the right guard position, whereas if he was to continue playing throughout training camp, he might have seen some looks at the center position with Eric McCoy being right guard. So overall, it looks like that things are going to work out pretty well. You know, Eric McCoy is emerging as a really top top-ended center in the league. Cesar Ruiz looks like he's going to put it all together. It's very comforting. Go get you some water. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? I got water. I got my H2O. What are you talking about? Get some water. What are you talking about? By far the best thing we have going is our solid O-line. Right now, it's definitely the best thing we have going is our O-line overall, right? You have the best tackle duo in the NFL. It's undisputed between Teron Armstead and Ryan Ramczyk. Cesar Ruiz, who's coming along nicely. You've got a top 15 center emerging as a top 10 center in the league in Eric McCoy. And even Andrus Peat. Andrus Peat has looked really strong games. He's fluid, he's fast, and he looked really good alongside Eric McCoy on setting up the screen, right? He looked really good so far. So if he can maintain that energy throughout training camp and throughout the season, can he maintain his full health throughout an entire 17-game stretch, then there's no doubt in my mind that the Saints have the number 1 offensive line in the NFC. Let's read some more of this. P-Rob is playing outside, but I don't see him being the starter. I mean, it remains to be seen. Like I said, I don't have too much info on Paulson and Devo, but getting them reps on the outside is going to be really key at the very least for quality depth. If anything else, hydrate. Why y'all saying hydrate? What is going on? Do I look dry? Do I look parched? Do I look parched to you guys? Like, I'm pretty sure I'm hydrated. I've been drinking water all day. Like, am I okay? Am I okay to you guys? Am I sweating? Like, do I look like I'm sweating here? What is going on? Why are you guys saying I need to hydrate? What is going on here? Yes, hit that like button. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to your boy. Let's go ahead and get this going. Katie Davis says, I can see him being locked down like a Super Bowl year with Jenkins. Yep, through that. She also says Juwan Johnson and Traubman are for sure tight end locks. Adam Traubman for sure, but I don't know about Juwan Johnson yet. We have some good looks so far with Juwan Johnson, but it's consistency. Can he consistently do so throughout training camp and win that spot? Can he win that tight end number 3 spot? Right now, it's still Nick Van Nett and Adam Traubman until he shows that he's actually better. Anybody think we bring it back Austin Carr? I would surely hope not. I surely hope not. Let's go ahead and read down a little bit here. Donald says Alex Arma is the starting fullback. The fullback in Sean Payton's offense is big. They got to be able to block, catch the football, and play special teams. He can do all 3 things. That's very true. He's one of the most versatile fullbacks in the entire NFL. He's responsible for why the running game for Christian McCaffrey was so successful for so long. He was one of the lead blockers, opening up holes. He takes on double defenders. He flattened a really good Devin White. He flattened the Levante David. He's on that type of program. Nick can block better than Juwan Johnson. That's proven. That's true. Nick Van Ness can block better than Juwan Johnson. It's proven. I'm not disputing that. Amar says, who are those 8 players? I know one of them is Paulson Adebo, but I don't know about the other 7. Sean Payton didn't comment on those 8 players yet, but he did not look too pleased along with the whole Michael Thomas situation. We'll get into that one in a little bit. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments. So let's go ahead and keep reading down. How much of an increased role do you think Deontay Harris will have in the offseason? That will depend entirely on Lawrence Woods and how he comes along during training camp. All right, we already know that Deontay Harris is going to potentially be suspended for 2 games because he was arrested a couple weeks ago for a DUI. So that's pretty much a 2-week game miss right there. But overall, his effectiveness and role in the offense depends on Lawrence Wood and who they can get to replace him. Now, Lawrence Wood coming out of Truman State, he was a really dynamic special teams guy. He was also a really decent corner, but he made his living, his bread and butter on special teams, fielding punts, fielding kicks, returning them, and playing a really good gunner. So if they can get Lawrence Woods to emerge on special teams, then Deontay Harris can really have his responsibilities focused more on the offense. So it really depends on that. That's what I think. Deontay Harris, I hope he gets some more looks on the offense. So far, it looks like he's been hitting them. He's been hitting those deep balls with Jameis Winston. So they're trying to see how effective he can be. So just look out for the coming weeks. Alvin Kamara wants to be more of a leader. Absolutely. We got the State of the Saints podcast. Look, y'all, we got the GOAT. We got the GOAT right here, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. I'm here on the radio live right now, listening in between music breaks. I appreciate you, man. Look, TJ, thank you so much, brother. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. I hope you're continuing to enjoy yourself between your music breaks. You know, radio live. You guys, go check this man out. Go check that man out. If you guys have not subscribed to his channel yet, you're doing yourself a disservice. No other NFL teams regarding Taysom makes him a 5-star backup. Okay, I can get behind that. DeMario is the leader of this football team. Malcolm Jenkins looks great also. Malcolm Jenkins has been one of the most consistent, most accomplished safeties in this modern era, in my honest opinion. Malcolm Jenkins, who came back to the Saints, wasn't really expecting much out of him. He really showed up and showed out. You know, he looked a little rough to start the year against that game with the Raiders, but he really settled in, and now he's looking to build upon that. A really seasoned, a good veteran in the locker room. I'm really glad he's back. I hope we can get him his 3rd ring because he deserves to be a Hall of Famer. Smart guy 898, what's going on? What's going on with you? What do you think the Saints still need to address by signing someone? They definitely need to sign corner. They need to find a corner somewhere. Or if they're not going to sign a corner, if they're going to give these younger guys a look, that's fine. But if they don't sign a corner, then you have to go linebacker somewhere. You have to find that. You have to find that tandem, and really fill out that depth chart with quality pieces. Yeah, you're looking at Zach Bond, you're looking at Pete Warner, and you're maybe looking at Kaden Ellis, who's gotten some snaps. Some rotational snaps at the ones, but when one of those guys sustains an injury, you never know. This is a very physical game. I do believe they need one more linebacker, or maybe even a defensive tackle. A seasoned defensive tackle, maybe even Geno Atkins at the very least. You're going to sign somebody, then those are my picks. They don't need another receiver. They've gotten a seasoned veteran already in Chris Hogan, very underrated guy. He was a deep threat for the Patriots with Tom Brady. He was a deep threat with a handful of teams he's been on. He's still got good burst. He was able to walk away from his visit with a 1-year deal. That shows you what they think of him as a guy that can step in while Michael Thomas is out. I can see him being locked down. Okay, I read that one. Let's go ahead and read down a little bit more here. We got Katie Davis, Smith, Callaway, number 2 receiver. Okay, read that one. Let's go ahead and read down a little bit more. TJ Jones, my fellow New Orleans. Did you hit that gym today? Did you, TJ? Did you, TJ? Did you hit the gym, TJ? That's a good one. So far, so good. The news was great for the Saints. Other than the Deontay Harris arrest that was probably lead to a 2-game suspension, it's been a pretty good day for Saints content all around. Speaking of that, Randy Major, what's going on, Mr. Randy? He says the players got to make better decisions. They're grown men and should be able to determine if their actions are acceptable or not. Look, I agree with that. Look, these guys have to understand that, yeah, you're going to face some adversity. I've read that Deontay Harris has been battling with some mental health stuff. While that's serious, I mean, I'm a guy with some mental health stuff going on every now and again also. Like, I have those kinds of problems. But when you're in a position like you are, like, there's no reason why you need to be behind the wheel or like intoxicated. Like, there's no need for that. Going 77 in a 55-mile-per-hour zone on a slew of other things. And it's not looking good for Deontay Harris on that front. So you got to be smarter. You're not only hurting yourself, you're hurting your team. A team that's really depending on you. Your rookie year, you were a first-team All-Pro, an All-Pro returner. And you're hoping to get more looks on the offense. But you can't do that if you can't get on the field. So you have to take care of yourself on the offense, and you have to take care of yourself on the off the field as well. So shouts out to Deontay Harris. I hope you get the help you need, brother. But you gotta make smarter decisions. Yeah, that's what I was saying, J Dog. Good to see you, bro. J Dog, the Cajun man. Golden Tate still out there. Should we sign him? I don't believe so. I don't believe we should sign Golden Tate, guys. I know J Dog signed as the same thing. I don't think we need Golden Tate. I think Chris Hogan can really be a really good veteran guy to help out this offense. Look, you're not trying to replace Michael Thomas here. You're not. You're just trying to keep above water until Michael Thomas comes back after the bye week, and then it'll be potentially smooth sailing. You keep Chris Hogan, making sure that you ease Michael Thomas back, and then you'll be fine. You don't need like this a guy like Golden Tate who's probably going to cost you a little more than what you're hopefully willing to bargain for. Golden Tate is a really underrated guy. He's got the afterburners. He's got some decent hands. He can get separation, but I think they're good with the guys they got. And those guys in the locker room already, they're pretty confident that they can match up with the best of them. Whether you're a Traquan Smith or a Deontay Harris or maybe the Marquez Callaway, these guys are very confident. And then we know national media may not paint them in that light. You know, these guys are hungry. So give these guys a chance. I wouldn't sign Golden Tate. They've already got Chris Hogan. Let's go ahead and read another comment here. Some Saints fans don't like Jameis Winston because they don't think he will do well when the season starts. I mean, that's partially what I've been saying throughout this entire offseason. They don't want to see Taysom Hill QB. Look, they want to see Taysom Hill be QB1, not because they think Taysom Hill is better, but they just don't want to see Jameis Winston. And I know it's a little confusing to think about, but that's where I'm at. They just don't want to see Jameis Winston. More so, they want to see Taysom Hill, and they really want to use the 2019 season against Jameis Winston for any number of reasons that I really don't understand. Look at it like this, guys. I've already said this a handful of times. Jameis Winston in 2019, he would have carried that team to the playoffs. A number of things went wrong that was outside of his control. Jameis 101. You guys checked out Jameis 101. He talked with TJ on his podcast. He's really intelligent. He's covered Jameis Winston for the better part of a year, from what I understand. Jameis Winston was poised to have lead them to an 11-5 record and win a wild card spot. But 3 games where Matt Gay shanked a field goal that would have won them a game, were to a receiver like Chris Godwin running the wrong routes or dropping passes, and DBs just being in the right space at the right time. There were a number of things that went wrong. And I was debating this actually. I was debating this with somebody over on Twitter a couple days ago. Some verified guy that wants to talk about how he had broken Eli Manning's 26 interception NFL record. Like, this guy didn't seem to understand that Peyton Manning ended up getting 26 to 28 in a season. 26 touchdowns, 28 interceptions. He's had more INTs than touchdowns. You know, he wants to talk about Peyton Manning having won 2 Super Bowls. That's a team stat. He has not yet given me any metric outside of the end result of TD to interception ratio. Whereas I was coming at him for the fact that the Tampa Bay Bucks defense was abysmal in the secondary. Their run game was abysmal. They had one of the worst running numbers in the league in 2019, and they were probably they were bottom 20 or maybe bottom 30, like sometimes last in the league in points allowed and points per game. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. He's yet to argue that. So these guys out here just really don't like Jameis Winston. They think he's just not a good quarterback, where he's actually led in majority of stats that really matter for a quarterback. If you guys don't know the metrics for Jameis Winston's stats already, let me go ahead and highlight these again for you guys that don't understand yet. I've said these a handful of times, but I have to keep reiterating this because the context of Jameis Winston matters right now. The intermediate rate. You guys don't know what intermediate rate is. The intermediate rate is kind of what Drew Brees has been doing since 2017. The intermediate passes. He's had 33.3%, which is ranked first in the NFL. He's about air yards per attempt, right? You guys want to see him stretch the ball down the field. He's clearly shown that. He's number 1 right now in the NFL with 10.6 air yards. The tight window rate. Can he fit the ball in the tight windows? He's third. He's top 3 in the NFL with a 19.7%. The pass to sticks on third downs. Can he complete the third downs? Can he get that yards a game? He's at a 63.1% pass to sticks third down ratio. That ranks first in the NFL during his time with the Bucks. And the pass success rate. That pass success rate is at 47.3%, which is top 10 in the NFL, ranked number 6. I keep iterating that because people don't want to acknowledge that. Jameis 101 is a guy who's also tried to debate this with these analysts on national medias that don't want to cover it. They want to skew a narrative on Jameis Winston. These metrics matter. Like, you can't measure a success of a quarterback by just looking at touchdowns or the total of interceptions or how many Super Bowls they've won. Those are all end results of other factors such as, you know, like team play, wide receiver play, the offensive line play. These things matter. And Jameis Winston didn't have much of that to speak of, but he did really well. He's probably one of the top 10 quarterbacks since 2016. Actually, he is a top 10 quarterback since 2016. The metrics don't lie. Go look up next-gen stats if you don't believe me. These come from next-gen stats. Next-gen. So these people out here that's advocating for Taysom Hill over Jameis Winston, they just don't like Jameis more than they trust Taysom. I don't understand people have high hopes for Traquan Smith, but do stay injured every year, just speaking facts. Look, I can understand that like there's definitely some questions with Traquan Smith. Can he show that he can stay healthy? Can he show that he can stay healthy? I'm not going to knock anybody for that. But I'm also hopeful for the fact that not only is he showing he's emerging as a leader for the wide receiver room, he's also showing that he can really emerge as that UCF receiver he was before he declared for the 2018 draft. He was one of the best deep threats in his collegiate career, over 20 yards per reception. Traquan Smith knows like no slouch. But when coming into the Saints, he was behind Ted Ginn Jr. He was forced to play in the slot. He was more of an outside guy. Traquan Smith had to memorize plays that were things that he didn't do. So those kind of things matter on top of that. So Traquan Smith, I hope he gets the looks he deserves. because I'm really rooting for him. I hope he proves a lot of hate, doubters wrong. I hope he answers a lot of questions. The spotlight's going to be on him either way, whether he's ready for it or not. We'll see during the beginning of the season. Let's go ahead and read some more of these comments here. I think Jameis will thrive under Sean Payton. He has shown improvement in his behavior. That's exactly what I've been talking about. I agree with that. The offseason stuff for Jameis Winston is like night and day. The Bucs fans, the national media, they don't want to acknowledge that. This guy has really turned his life around since coming to the Saints. And on top of having his second child, he's been reading the Bible more. He's been understanding what he needs to do for the playbook. He's been working out with receivers. His entire mantra ended up changing during the offseason. His mental side of the game. He slimmed down a lot during his time in Tampa Bay. If you guys don't believe it, go look for yourself. It starts with getting right up here, getting right with the man upstairs. If you guys are believers of that, but getting right with the man upstairs and getting right in your space up here, it translates to everything else that you do. And it showed during his workouts. It showed during his ethics. This guy has really matured during interviews and stuff like that. He's got a goal. He's hungry for it. And so far, it may be too early to tell, but he's starting off pretty strong because of that. J-Rock, what's going on, J-Rock? I've said it once. I'll say it again. For those who criticize Jameis, consider this. In Tampa, he didn't have a top 5 O-line. Nor did he have the best all-around back in the game. He does now. Exactly, my man. They don't want to acknowledge that. Faith-based workplace. What's going on? First time seeing you. Welcome to the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. Hope you're enjoying yourself. Let's go ahead and read further down right here. What are your thoughts on us being the front runners for giving Xavier Howard in the trade? I'm all for it, Hoodie Jube, I'm all for it. If they get Xavier Howard, that locker room, that DB locker room under Chris Richard, that will be a day. That will be a field day for us. It's been recently reported that 2 teams have called the Miami Dolphins inquiring about a potential trade for Xavier Howard. And I have to keep my hat in there for the New Orleans Saints if rumors are true that they're still looking for that cornerback, because Sean Payton said that he believes it's a must over other positions like DT or a linebacker or even a wide receiver at this point. If you're going to sign a corner, if you're going to sign Xavier Howard and make the trade, I would honestly give up 2 first-rounders. Like, I believe he's worth that, and maybe even a starting player like Patrick Robinson. I believe that, and they can fit him underneath the cap and still save a little room for maybe even another veteran player if they really want to. The fact of the matter is, these guys are doing everything right. And if they're in the mix with Xavier Howard, if they get him in the building, the same secondary is going to be legit. It's going to be legit, guys. So please get Xavier Howard if you're going to make the push. Don't half-ass it. Go all in or not at all. All in or not at all. New subscriber here. Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for subscribing so much. You guys are great. You guys are great. You really are. Like, I can't thank y'all enough for coming in and just having fun with me. Look, I can't equate my success right now by just me, right? I have to keep TJ Jones. I have to give him his just credit. I have to give CB his credit. I have to give Carly her credit. I have to give WD his credit. I have to give Smokers YT, Saints Highlights. All these guys have come here and they've embraced me. They've helped me get on my feet, and they've brought me to you guys. They brought me to you guys. So thank y'all so much. I'm never going to forget where I started here, and it's been a blessing of a ride so far. I'm still looking to hit 1.3K subscribers by the end of next month. So please do me a favor. Go ahead and continue sharing the platform around to your friends, your Saints fans, your non-Saints fans. Let's hit 1.3 before the end of next month. People are so worried about the cap space, but don't remember that Mickey Loomis is a cap wizard. Look, let them sleep on Mickey Loomis. Just let them sleep. Just let them sleep. That's all I gotta say. If they don't believe in Mickey Loomis at this point, they never will. If they don't believe in him now, they never will. Some people have said fire Mickey Loomis. Fire him for what? But not Mickey Loomis and Kyle Harley and Sean Payton the Saints wouldn't be in a good position right now. They're still a playoff contending team because of what those guys do in that office. So anybody that wants to say fire Mickey Loomis, they're casuals and they really don't know what they're talking about. He's responsible for a lot of good that's been going on in his organization. In this team. The main reason is 2 words: Sean freaking Payton. Exactly. They want to keep pushing lies on Jameis Winston, but not talk about the truth and the positive things about him. Because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't fit the narrative. They know the 30 for 30 season he had with Tampa Bay, that sells like hotcakes for them. So they don't want to put Jameis Winston in a positive light all that much because they want that controversy. They want those clicks. Whether it be negative reviews or not, it gets them traffic. And Jameis Winston is better for business for them in a negative light than a positive light, unless you're Good Morning Football or some local Saints media like myself, TJ, WDN, and Smokers YT, and people like them. There was some breaking news today about Deontay Harris being arrested earlier this week for DUI, suspended for like 2 games. Can we catch a break? Look, there was someone that came to me that commented on my community post saying that we're the Suicide Squad of the NFL, and honestly, I can't disagree with that. It's very funny. The Saints are the Suicide Squad of the NFL, and it actually makes a lot of sense with Marshall Lattimore being arrested up in Ohio, and now Deontay Harris being arrested a couple weeks ago. It's starting to look like we're the Suicide Squad. But hey, the Suicide Squad is pretty lit, so I'll take that. I believe that will be fine this season. All this panic stuff is ridiculous. There's a lot of questions, admittedly, but I agree with you. All this panic, all this pessimism. Look, I will quote the words of the GOAT TJ Jones himself. If you're scared, go to church. If you're scared, go to church. Go pray. It's black and gold till we dead and cold over here. TJ, thank you for that word. Thank you for that line, man. We gotta use that more often. If you're scared, go to church. Just go to church if you're that scared. Because I ain't all that scared. I got questions. Yeah, I got some concerns, but I'm not pessimistic like that. Just go to church, man. Go to church. The Saints are not America's team, so we're not going to get all the good publicity. That's very true. I still don't believe how the Dallas Cowboys are still favored as the team to have the number 1 explosive offense this year, or even be contenders for a Super Bowl. Some people have the Dallas Cowboys over the New Orleans Saints, and really makes no sense to me, like at all. Donald Wood says cap space is not a concern for the Saints and Sean Payton. They still want to win. Sean Payton is not tanking this season. Sean Payton is worrying about 2021. He's in the moment. Exactly, Donald. You hit the nail on the head. You hit the nail on the head right there. Hoodie Jew says, I'm a small YouTuber myself. That's why I subscribe here to learn from everyone around. That's why I follow TJ off the bench AFR. Look, Hoodie, I'm glad you're here, man. I will be glad to bring you on the podcast. You make sure you get the exposure that you rightfully deserve. Because look, guys, when one person eats, we all eat. We spread the love around here. Like there's no single success anywhere. It all starts with having a passion for something, and you find people with similar passions to help elevate you. Whenever you want to come on the podcast, brother, I will happily bring you on. Just hit up one of my social media handles down there in the description, and let's see if we can get you in here. Let's read a couple more comments, and then we're going to get out of here and then get ready for day 2 training camp review. Read a couple more comments. Katie Davis says, Winston did amazing on his passes today. He killed it on a deep ball. Hill starting reps today. Didn't do too bad. He did good, but I feel day one Winston wins. I feel Winston is so focused, and I've never seen. I believe they say never seen. But I agree with you. Like Taysom Hill has a different skill set than Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston gives you a consistent deep ball, the play action, and he can scramble and manipulate the pocket. Taysom Hill doesn't give you all that much, but he can't escape the pocket, and he's a bruiser when he's running the football. If he can cut down on the fumbles he had, 10 fumbles over a 7-game stretch, then he can really. That's why I believe he's so good in the role he's in already. He doesn't need to be the starting quarterback because he does so much already. That's why I believe that. So I definitely agree with you, Katie. Let's read a couple more. Let's read a couple more here. Jerry Porter says, "Stop listening to the media. They garbage." Exactly, man. Look, the media is not going to paint the Saints in any kind of positive light. Well, not all of them. Well, most of them aren't. Some of them will, like, Good Morning Football. Damian Green asks, was it a cap reason why we couldn't keep Malcolm Brown and Sheldon Rankins? It was definitely a cap move. It was definitely a cap concern between Malcolm Brown and Sheldon Rankins, or mostly Malcolm Brown. I believe Sheldon Rankins overstayed his welcome. He's already had his 5th-year option extended, and he just couldn't stay healthy. At any point during his tenure with the Saints, he just couldn't stay healthy for a full season. It was just his time. He played out his 5th-year option. Now he's testing waters over there with the New York Jets. But Malcolm Brown, that's definitely a cap move. Malcolm Brown has been responsible for a major part of why the run game against us hasn't been as effective. He plugged up those running lanes, so that's definitely a cap move. I'm sorry, it sucks we couldn't really give him like a 2-year deal like we did JT Gray, but that's definitely a cap move with Malcolm Brown as opposed to Sheldon Rankins. All right, let's read. Let's find one more comment here. Faith-Based says, do you think Callaway can be a deep threat? Absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe he can be a deep threat. He's definitely worked on that deep threat with Jameis Winston this offseason. He's worked on that play action. He's done the rollouts. Marquez Callaway did a lot of was a deep threat receiver during his time in Tennessee on top of that. So I definitely believe he can blossom into a deep threat receiver outside of Traquan Smith or whoever is on the opposite side. He can play that X. He can play the Z. Maybe play a little bit of the slot. All right, y'all. And we got RJ Mason. What's going on, RJ? All right, y'all. That's it. That's all for today's for today's show. Thank y'all for tuning in. Tomorrow we'll be back for day 2 of Saints training camp review. Go ahead and hit up my my Facebook page. If you guys have Facebook at facebook.com, search Black and Gold Breakdown, or subscribe here to the YouTube channel at B&G Breakdown Podcast. Or if you're over on Twitter, hit up my Twitter handle at Real Aaron Davis. Or if you're even on Instagram, I'm on Instagram a little bit. I'm getting more active over there at Who Dat Davis. If you guys want to be my special guest of the week sometime next month, you have to be following one of my social medias, and you have to DM me either on Facebook or you have to DM me on Instagram or even on Twitter. If you have Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, you have to DM me over there, and then I'll do a random draw and select someone out of that pool. But you have to be following me on one of those platforms to be eligible to be my special guest of the week. That's it. That's all. See you guys tomorrow for day 2's review.